Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. Now I know, troops, this isn't the video that a lot of people were expecting, or maybe the actual better word is hoping for, troops, as everyone wants to discuss transfer related topics, whether it's players coming in or duffers gone out. That's where everyone's mind is. They're chasing down every single rumour or link or discussion. They say it's on, they say it's off. Is it on? Is it off? Who said this? He's wanting money, he's wanting enough, that club's no paying, that guy's turning us down. It's non-stop and it's constantly gone round and round and round in a cycle that is never ending, ladies and gentlemen. But instead of sitting here and discussing it and getting lost and chasing our tails and he said, she said, I want this, you want that debates, let's take a step back and take a breather for the transfer related Twitter nonsense and sit and look each other in the eyes and discuss a Rangers talking point that I feel like needs to be discussed right here on the channel. And that's our boy Haji. Now the channel legends that are currently watching today's video will know we made a video about a month and a half ago on players I think will stay and who will go in this transfer video, whilst also discussing what I think the club would like to do. But there was one name omitted from that list, and that is our boy Haji. No, it wasn't because I forgot about him, but I know he was just kind of stuck in this limbo that led us to a video we made a couple of weeks ago talking about going in to this major tournament. Our boy Haji, what he needs to do if he's going to have a future or even make some money and make some interest in him, because the hype has never been as lull and as low as it was pre-Euro 2024, and that takes us to where we are right now. The trilogy, the ending, the return of the king style video in terms of Haji, because it could be the start of sun or it could be the goodbyes. We look at every nook and cranny and discuss whether or not Haji has a future here, or does his future lie elsewhere. And as we are going to really try and dive in as deep as we possibly can into our boy Haji, and I heard that it sounded a little bit weird, let's move on very swiftly from it. I would say if anyone's got any preconceptions of what they think on this subject, maybe give today's video a watch before you jump in at the comment section and scream at me down below, as we're going to try and discuss everything, because your opinions may change one way or the other. Because I think most people will know I've been a bit of a Haji defender over the last couple of years. I wasn't happy about him getting loaned out from Michael Beale. I didn't like that entire situation. For me, it stank, you know what I mean? Because Haji never said anything wrong. He just said he would love the opportunity to play more now that he's back fit, but that affected the ego of Michael Beale, and Michael Beale forced him out the door a couple of days later, kicking him out to the first club that came calling. And for me, it was a mistake on both ends, as I feel like the club didn't suit Haji in terms of a playstyle, which we'll speak about in the next couple of minutes. And for us as a club, we went over the next couple of months kicking out one of our most creative players statistically over the last couple of years out the door, really left us in a poor place, as we were painfully average for a long time until Beale lost his job. Clement came in and provided a little bit of a spark, but there has been that niggling feeling and that niggling conversation that can Clement get the spark out of Haji, because say what you want about him, he certainly has son. So again, for me, my inner bias is just jumping right to, oh, well, I want to see what he can do under Clement. You know what I mean? If Clement can get A, B, C up to a level, can he maybe get Haji back to his best, because that would make us a better team? But that is just my bias, Tom. Let's be fair to everyone who's tuning in. Let's be fair to the video and cover all angles of what isn't a beautiful tale of Haji. It isn't going to be, oh, Haji's great, or no, because his time in Spain, to put it short, stank, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? I'm a Haji defender, but I need to say it. He was stinking in Spain. So let's go ahead and talk about it, because again, we said the fit, it just never worked. You think maybe going to that higher league, he could be there. Spain's a little bit slower in terms of this. He should get on the ball more. That never happened at all, ladies and gentlemen, as he was juggled and flung about position after position, never getting a run in the team, never getting an opportunity to really start consecutive games. Nah, it was poor as he played just 26 times over in Spain. This was supposed to be the comeback. This was supposed to be gone out there pissed off and angry at Michael Beale to show revenge and show Rangers what they were missing. Well, he played 26 games in all competitions, 22 of them being in the top flight of Spanish football and 4 of them being in the Copa del Rey, which is obviously the Spanish Cup competition. Now, in the league, he picked up more yellow cards free than assists that he got, ladies and gentlemen, which were 2, meaning in 22 games he had 0 goals, 2 assists and 3 yellow cards. Now, the Copa del Rey was slightly better for Haji as he was given more opportunities in the cup in terms of minutes to actually play, as he played 4 games in the Copa del Rey in which he had 2 goals. 0 assists for a creative player. That doesn't make any sense, and it does hurt me to say this, ladies and gentlemen, that his time in Spain breaks down to 26 games, 2 goals, 2 assists, 3 yellow cards. Clearly not good enough. It's stinking, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, but again, you have to put everything into context and be really, really fair, because narrowly, that's horrible. But you do have a wee bit over here that has to remind you he did spend the betterment of 2 years, was it 18 to 2 years, out on the cold, building his way back up. The first season back playing football week in and week out was always going to be difficult. On the laddie, it wasn't going to be a smooth transition. It isn't FIFA, it isn't Football Manager, it's real life. And when you have an injury like his, it's going to take a wee bit of time to get back to the level or the precedent that you maybe set in your previous time at playing. So you have to put that in perspective. And to be fair, as we try and do and look at all angles right here in the channel, we're looking at that, right? 26 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. It's dreadful, right? But to be fair, a lot of those games, in fact, the large majority of those games were substitute appearances, either getting subbed off early in games or, ladies and gentlemen, as he was 16 of the 26 games that he was played, flung in at the end of games. That's right, he was a late substitute in 16 of the 26 games he played in Spain, which I don't think anyone needs me to come out here and say. It's hard to really find consistency, especially after being out the park so long and being out of football so long, to build your level back up. If you're getting 5 minutes one week, 4 minutes the other week, 16 minutes the next game week, 3 minutes the week, it's hard. And honestly, I feel a wee bit sorry for him. Now, granted, people will shout in the comment section, well, it's on him to grab the opportunity and make an impact, and I think as we get to the Euros conversation, you'll hear that, so absolutely, but again, it just didn't fit. It felt hurried at the time. I mean, he said the comment about Beale and wanting to play more. 3 days later, he was kicked to Spain. It was hurried too quickly, it was too rushed, and it just didn't mesh at all, as Haji played just twice the full 90 of the entire season last. But moving away from Spain, as again, it was stinking. I've said that, and I can hold my hands up in saying that it just never worked out. But where it doesn't look good for us looking at it, especially for a creative player, statistically, what it could have been is an important building block for him mentally to get through an entire season, a foot relapse in an entire season, a foot injury, being a party training, building his way back up. Again, we just see on the park stuff, or if we're not paying attention, just the statistical stuff. There's a lot of other stuff going around, so it could have been an important foundation for Haji. And the reason I feel like I can say that now is if you see how he actually played at the Euros, and that's where it took, you know what I mean? After the disappointing season, he heard that, he was asked about it, poor this, poor that, where are you gone, is there any future at Rangers? He came out, as we discussed a couple of weeks ago, where he says he's told his agent what he wants, it's just about him now to actually earn it, and he went in to Euros the exact same way as he did in Spain, if I'm being brutally honest. Sort of on the outskirts, given an opportunity because he's a talent, but he wasn't a starter. He wasn't in the starting 11 through the opening 2 games at the Euros, ladies and gentlemen. But unlike his time at Spain, he was getting on the ball. It played more to his playstyles, and his substitute appearances earned a guy that was out in the cold internationally back in to the starting 11 for the do or die game versus Slovakia that ended up being 1-1. And if you watched any Slovakia, you know they were not too bad, as they were a whisker away from knocking England out. So he was trusted to be in the starting 11 for that game, and he got an assist in that game. You know what I mean? It could have been a controversial penalty depending on how you look at it, but it's his run, it's his direct movement. He did lead in several key statistical points, like the pass that led to the shot and key passes if you want to get into that nerdy stuff. He was a bright spark in that game, and he was a difference in helping his country win the penalty that saw them make the latter stages of a major competition. And after being so impressive and winning so many plaudits for certain people, he then saw himself in the starting 11 in the last 16 of Euro 2024. This was a guy that was out in the cold the first game, ladies and gentlemen, even in the second game, but he impressed. He really impressed, and now he's playing in the last 16. We as a football club, only had one player representing Euro 2024, and it's Haji, a guy that was out in the cold, and he fought his way back in and he showed his quality at the highest international stage. And unfortunately, the fairy tale of Romania did come at the end, quite convincingly, I should say, versus the Dutch, as the Dutch do what the Dutch do, get better the more the tournament goes on, and their attacking flair was just too much. But even Haji's performance, where for me, I think he was better versus Slovakia than he was versus the Dutch. I know he got a lot of praise from the Romanian press. Obviously, he got the head knock, he's got the iconic hang, all that stuff. For me, he was better versus Slovakia, but I can see why people are talking him up versus the Dutch, because yes, the Dutch maybe won convincingly in the game of football, but the three major chances Romania had in the game, Hagi was involved in all three and directly created two of them. So you can look at it that way, especially under the context that he was playing out of position, playing on the left hand side. We always used to moan about Gerrard playing him out of position on the right. Well, he was playing out on the left for Romania to try and limit the impact and maybe nullify the Dutch's strength down the right hand side. So he was playing out of position, he was having to dig in and do a job. He got that head knock, but he battled on, fought on, and he gave it a good go. And again, Romania, as you expect, come up short versus the Flying Dutchman. But that's the curious case of ianis Hagi. Ladies and gentlemen, that's his story of the season, stinking in Spain. Really, for what I can see, it just never worked. And that's happened with some of your best ever players that have been misfits elsewhere and having to fit elsewhere. They come up here and they be a success. It can happen sometimes. A player just doesn't mesh. It clearly never worked in Spain. And then you got a wee bit of outskirts. Oh, the name's too heavy for the back of this. He's no this, he's no that. Well, he improved and impressed, and ended up starting a knockout game at a major international tournament. And that leads us to where we are right now, where the laddie is going to go on a short holiday and then return to pre-season at Rangers. And for me, this is where the conversation is. Now we've not looked at enough of the story. I want to ask you guys a couple questions, if you didn't mind, if you're still here right now. Is one, do you feel like Hagi's got something? Did you watch the Euros? Did you see a wee bit of sun? Is he a type of player that can be impactful in a Rangers team? And two, do you feel like he should get another chance under Clement? Because I'm going to tell you something right now. The man is obviously a former Young Player of the Year award at Rangers. Statistically, he created the more chances in the season that we won, 55, than the last decade of players, or the highest. No one got to his standard of what he actually created. Now, of course, there is a major injury in there. Is he ever going to return to the players? That's the conversation to be had, but it is a long road to recovery. I feel like he's took a large chunk of that now, and I feel like he's there now to where he should be judged. The first year back was always going to be ugly, you know what I mean? Now it's time to truly judge him. And for me, if you look at his stats for Rangers, he has played 99 games in all competitions. So just for my OCD, let him play one more, please. I need it. But OCD aside, he does have 16 games to his name and 21 assists, which is of course 37 goal contributions in 99 games, meaning he averages a goal or assist round about 2.5, 2.6, I think, if I'm doing my math correctly, which is no bad. So if you are still here, if I was sitting here doing a player profile on a player you've never heard of before, right, let's just stay with me right now. I'm talking about an international player who's just played poorly in the league, but went to the Euros and played an important part to help his country reach the last stages and averages a goal or assist every 2.6 games throughout his career at the age of 25, who is both-footed. Would you look at that and say, that's the type of player I like? Because for me, I do a lot of player profiles and I've looked at a lot of players over the years. I feel like if I sat here and said that, people would be like, oh, that's interesting, but we've actually got that in the building now. That's there to be seen, that's there to be tested under Phil Clement. And again, the argument could be made, where does he fit with that? Is he going to fit Clement's what he wants for his wingers? Probably no on paper, but seeing what he tried to do with Lawrence and what he tried to do with Cantwell, can Haji get a wee go there? It is an interesting conversation. And if you're looking at the right wing situation, you've got McCausland, who's been asked to come inside and play and combine to give Tavernier some space, and you're getting Scotty Wright doing the same. No disrespect to McCausland, young laddie, he's going to get better every season, I really hope that. But if you look at McCausland, Scott Wright, where we sit right now, I'm alright with Haji being in there and possibly getting a start over those two. That's just my personal opinion, and that's where I sit. And I feel like if I was bringing you the stats and statistics we just spoke about, people would be like, it's worth the risk. If this was a free transfer, it's worth the risk to see if he can get back to it. Well, he's your player, ladies and gentlemen. What are you thinking? It's maybe just the romantic side, and again that bias coming in, but I feel like we would look at that and say, aye, it's worth the gamble on that. Well, it's not costing us anything to buy him or anything like that. We've got that. We've got that player there. He knows what it takes. He's won here before. There's under the new manager. It does leave us in a very interesting position. For me, I would like to see him given a go, because I think the likes of Lawrence and Cantwell's and Scotty Wright's, I think they are getting gutted this season. I really, really do. And for me, it's not the worst type of player you can have. If he can get back to his level, it doesn't cost us a penny in terms of buying him. It's almost a no-brainer. But for me, I've got to be honest and put my feelings to one side. If you look me in the eyes, despite everything I've said, do I feel like Haji will get a chance at Rangers? I didn't think so, ladies and gentlemen, and I feel like I could be talking about him leaving very, very soon, as he has won praise, he has won plaudits, and apparently has suitors now based on what he was able to do at the Euros. People are willing to gamble on him after a foundation year, if you will, in terms of a major injury. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I've got to say about Haji. Just wanted to talk about something a little bit different, just to see your thoughts and opinions on it. So please, if you're still watching today's video, let me know your thoughts and opinions. That would be absolutely sensational, and just have a wee bit of fun. If I was bringing you that player profile, would you say it's worth a gamble? Yes or no? Be interesting. But until next time, which will hopefully be a signing video, ladies and gentlemen, that would be great. I've been CJ Over92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye-bye.